So warm greetings from Insight Meditation Center in Redwood City. And I'm very grateful for Matthew who came and filled in for me yesterday. And I was under the weather a little bit. I had a little bit of fever on Wednesday evening and a little bit upset stomach. I woke up in the morning and the fever was gone. And very quickly in the course of the morning, after sleeping 12 hours, I started feeling pretty good. So I think it's passed, and I'm happy to be here with you all. So when we're treated in an impersonal way, then it can be kind of cold, and we can take it personally and feel like it's offensive, almost. Like somehow we've been ignored or overlooked or not respected. Sometimes when things are personal, we get offended easily, and we're holding on to some idea, or we're threatened easily. Sometimes when things are personal, it feels really cozy and comfortable and safe. And then there's a third step, which there's no English word that I know of. Maybe make up a word, something like underpersonal or pre-personal or post-personal. And that's when things have become so personal, so centered, so connected here, that we stop thinking about ourselves. We stop assigning person to anything, personalness to anything. And things can be as they are, in the coziness and the comfort and the safety of the present moment. And in fact, to really be in this underpersonal way is, it can feel that taking things personally, assigning personal value on them and what it means for me, myself, and I, can feel like using coarse sandpaper on very smooth wood. It feels like it's a little bit too much. And what's nice is just to appreciate the comfort, the ease, the subtleness of our experience without the overlay of whatever it means to assume or feel that it's personal. This extra evaluation that sometimes is quite wonderful. So as meditation deepens, we start getting a feeling for how to meditate without taking it personally. It doesn't mean that it becomes impersonal in some cold kind of way. It means that we go deeper than what's personal, the underpersonal. And we can just be present in the simplicity of the moment, content. And if we're not content, then probably there's something that we're taking personally, something we're concerned with for me, myself, and mine, something that bothers us, something that we want, something we don't want. And so we're using the coarser sandpaper. But if we quiet down, then and let go of discontent of all forms and just content to be here, there's this underpersonal state where things just be in meditation in a very, very simple way that's very satisfying. So, assuming a meditation posture, and it's useful to take one that personally for you supports your meditation. Each person's going to have a different posture that's the right posture for them to meditate in. Sometimes the variations are very small. and to gently close your eyes. And to feel at first how personal it is, with the eyes closed, to feel yourself. Feel the sensations of the body, to feel and recognize the thoughts you're having. To feel what's happening in your heart, the emotions that are present. And rather than judging them or reacting to them, feel how, with the eyes closed, how close they are to you. They're not someone else's sensations and feelings, they're yours. They're quite personal, and others might have similar feelings, but yours are your own. And then to take a few long, slow, deep breaths. Breathing in and inhabiting this personal experience of yourself here and now. Exhaling and relaxing it, relaxing everything in your body. Exhaling and releasing. Breathing in and breathing out. Letting breathing return to normal. You might say that breathing is personal. You might say that it's something different than personal. It's shared by all mammals. All humans are doing the same movements. It's something universal. To breathe in, to breathe out. And as you're sitting here, become aware of the temperature of your body. Places where your body feels warm, places where it feels cool, places in between. And feel the temperature of your body as something that's deeper than personal. It's nature, the natural movements of how the body works in the presence of certain conditions. The warmth, the coolness, the play of warmth and coolness in the body, and how breathing interacts with it. Maybe in some more foundational way. Below the temperature, there's the solidity of the body, the hardness, the firmness against your seat or the floor, the weight of your body. And out of that firmness and groundedness, there's also movement in the body. The movement of the associated with breathing. Small little movements of the body. And in Buddhist meditation practice, being aware of these properties of temperature and solidity and movement are three of the four properties that to tune into that are pre-personal, under-personal. It's a way of having our experiences without the overlay of attributing a self or me, myself to it. So intimate, so cozy and contented to stay close to these basic sensations, properties that are at play in the body, sitting here. Movement, temperature, softness and hardness, solidity. And the water element property is cohesion. Anything that feels like it's stretching or being held together is considered to be the property of stickiness or lubrication. Stay close to these fundamental sensations. As a way of being under-personal, less personal than personal. Or if you can't do that, having a heightened awareness of how you do overlay the idea of the personal on top of your experience. Gently taking a breath or two deeper. And on the exhale, settling in, letting go of the impersonal and the personal, to just being here in the body and the sensations of the body. So intimate with the body that there's no room for judgments or ideas or attributing them to anything. They're underpersonal. Just here, the natural self, the natural world, nature. And as we come to the end of this sitting, what if love, goodwill, is something deeper than personal, something that resides within us in a natural way, that we don't have to personally evaluate, or it's not a personal reason to love, to be kind. It's just the nature of the heart, the nature of our inner tenderness. Kindness is deeper than personal, underpersonal. Maybe kindness, this kind of kindness doesn't need a reason. Loving without a reason. Loving without needing anything in return. Loving without fear, without resistance. The heart's goodwill. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings be peaceful. And may all beings be free. Thank you. So, hello. So, in the Buddha's teachings on the four foundations of mindfulness, on the section of mindfulness of the body, he has an exercise on what's generally called the four elements. And the four elements are usually called earth, water, fire, and air. And one of the reasons in this exercise is to become aware of our sensations of our body in their elemental properties, elemental manifestations. And one of the classic reasons for this meditation is to be able to experience our present moment experience without the filter of self-identification, without all that comes along with taking it personally and making it mine, or it's happening to me, or this is my experience. And to be able to kind of experience it directly without any overlay of self, to do so impersonally, in a sense. But impersonally sounds cold, so I kind of made up the term pre-personal or under-personal, something that's so intimate that it's so close in, it's so intimate, so settled here, so connected here, that we stay so at the foundational level before the mind starts bringing in ideas of me, myself, and mine. So this exercise in the four elements is meant to be an element to freeze us from self concerns, preoccupation. Now the elements, earth, water, air, and fire, I don't know if it's appropriate to call it elements, because the elements kind of like it's the elemental table. It kind of implies some solid, like atoms, some things, molecules, it's some fundamental things that exist. And but rather that probably the better translation of dhatu, the Pali word, is properties. And because there's many things that are dhatus which are clearly not elemental in terms of things. They're elemental in terms of being fundamental, like the building blocks of something. But they're not things. They're processes, they're activities, they're things that are appearing and disappearing. And so these have to do with our sensations. So it's not our thoughts, it's not our feelings about it, but rather the sensations that might be there providing the information that helps us understand, oh, this is an emotion. The sensations that tell us the impact that thinking might have. So the sensations to stay there in the realm of sensations. The idea of the four properties, earth, water, fire, and air, is to give us a little bit of an orientation of how to stay close in to these different things. So the earth element is solidity, hardness, softness, firmness, maybe tightness sometimes. So anything that kind of feels solid, or the opposite, kind of soft, that range is considered the earth element. Granite rock is really hard. Soft soil, the earth, is quite soft. You put your hand in it. The water element is one of the harder ones to experience, but the way that the tradition holds it up is that its fluidity, with a kind of fluidity where the fluid kind of holds together. That's what fluid is. It's kind of, water has a very little of force that keeps the molecules connected to each other. The spit in your mouth has more stickiness to itself, and so things that hold things together, keep things kind of coalesced. It's a little bit hard to feel and experience, but maybe you get the idea. And then there's fire, which is a temperature, hot and cold, and then there's the air element. The literal word in Pali is not air. We say air, but it's wind. And then it's easier to understand that the elemental level here has to do with movement. So any movement we have in the body, as we're sitting still, for example, and there's some kind of movement, that's the wind element moving through us. And and it can be a delight to be able to put to rest our self-preoccupations, put to rest all these kinds of concerns about me, myself, and mine, and become so deeply personal with our experience that the idea of personalness falls away. And so I tried the under-personal, pre-personal. I see in the chat someone's suggesting sub-personal, maybe underneath it all. But this is where the idea of, it's so personal, the idea of personal falls away. It's kind of like some people maybe have the experience of being in your home or in your bedroom. No one's around, and maybe you're in pajamas and you're cozy with a cup of tea, and there's no self-concern about me, myself, and mine, and you're not thinking about yourself. You're just kind of cozy and settled, and there's no other person to bounce off of, to compare ourselves to, or be in interaction with, and where you feel like it's just okay to be ourselves. So in meditation, it can be this way, where it's so okay to be ourselves, that this is maybe the one place where we can drop the social world. We can drop the responsibilities we have to do temporarily, so that we can get underneath to a deeper level of well-being, of safety, of comfort, where we can just be absorbed in the simplicity of the moment, in the sensations of the experience. There's no agenda, not trying we're doing it for a purpose, not trying to get concentrated or something, but just kind of floating in the sensations as they come and go, kind of diving into them, sinking into them. And to have a fairly good experience of this becomes a wonderful personal experience of an alternative to all the me, myself, and mining that we go through the day with. It can be exhausting how much our self-concern is part and parcel of so many of the things we're doing all day long. Our preferences, what we're trying to avoid, what we want, what we don't want, how we feel about things, our opinions, my opinions, how we are in relationship to other people. It's many people can get exhausted from all the ways in which we're navigating ourselves in relationship to other people. And with challenges that we have in our lives, the challenges tend to evoke a strong sense of self, because the challenges often has some personal quality. I have to figure out, it's happening to me, or I'm responsible, I have to figure something out. And so this emphasis on ourselves as the agent, or as the victim, or as something, kind of elicits more self. Some of that's okay, but it's really nice to know an alternative. It's really nice to know that there's another way where we don't take things personally, but it doesn't feel cold. We just are present for things without measuring it against our idea of self, or measuring against me, myself, and mine, and what it means for me. To do this four-element meditation, drop down into the sensation that's this deeper than personal, gives us a feeling for going about the challenges of our life without taking them so personally. Maybe they involve something that has to be done, but then we do it without the weight of why me, I shouldn't have to do it, or this is too difficult for me. There's a simpler way of engaging where the me, myself, and mine doesn't interfere. It might be there in the background guiding it a little bit, but it doesn't interfere. So some people find the four-element meditation very meaningful. And in fact, for this insight meditation practice that I learned in Asia, um, kind of the heart of it was the four element meditation, in that the heart of it was to really drop down into the sensations of the experience, not the thoughts of the experience, the stories about the experience, not the idea how we take it personally, the experience, but to actually dropping down and really staying intimately present for the sensations. And this gets really helpful, like with an emotion. What are the sensations of the emotion? And to course and travel and feel the sensations of the emotion. What are the sensations connected to thinking? What are the sensations involved in activity and movement that we're doing? And to spend some quality time in this subpersonal realm of just the sensations is quite freeing. And the freedom of self that it provides then becomes a reference point to much better understand how much extra self we bring along as we go about our life, including with our challenges. So you might, if you feel inclined, see if you could find a way to settle in some nice way at home or somewhere for a few minutes here and there, to see if you can be so at ease that you stop taking anything personally. It's just nature operating through you, just nature operating in this body that's here. And in not taking it personally, not being aloof or cold, but rather diving in to the sensations, diving into the basic fundamental building blocks of sensations from which we build our interpretation of life. And see if that teaches you something about a less self-concerned way of being in the world. It's invaluable to do when we have challenges, because the challenges that we have that get mixed up with self-preoccupation, those challenges become much more difficult. But the less self there can be, the agitation of self, the easier it is to take care of challenges in a responsible way. So thank you. So the end of the week, this Sunday at IMC, we're going to have a community meeting. I think the first in-person community meeting since the pandemic. I know many of you are far away, but some of you are close by. And we're having it at about 11 o'clock, which is after the usual Sunday morning program. And there's no need to register to come to a community meeting. You can just come to it. You do need to register to come to the Dharma talk. We'll talk about IMC, we'll talk about the pandemic, we'll talk about our COVID protocol and maybe changing it. Talk a little bit about the vision of IMC and how we're going to go forward from here, and hear from you a little bit about what do you think your ideas of IMC and how we go on from here. And then in about a month, we'll do a similar kind of community meeting for the online community, and we'll do it on Zoom. And there'll be information more about that later, mid-April sometime. So, thank you. And look forward to being here with you on Monday.